Fans of the late Buddy Holly characterize his music as enduring. Though Holly was only 21 years old when he died more than 3 decades ago, some of his songs are considered rock and roll classics, and there are still millions of Buddy Holly fans of all ages all over the world. Buddy, The Buddy Holly Story, is a new musical about his life. It's been selling out in London and Toronto, and it's currently touring the United States and Canada with a Broadway opening set for next month. Actor Paul Hipp plays Buddy Holly in the new musical, and Marina Holy, Buddy's widow, is also with us this morning. Good morning to both of you.
Good morning.
Maria, I understand that the first time you actually saw this show, you broke down and cried.
I sure did. I had a lot of emotions there when I first saw Paul on stage. I was in London, and it was kind of eerie, you know, to see him out there, and he just looks like Buddy. So I laugh, I cry, lots of emotions.
Did somebody have to talk you into going to that first show?
They invited me, and I came over to see the show, of course. Sometimes I say I'm prepared to see this and not get upset, but you can't help it. It's, you know, still, after all these years, still I get a little bit depressed on these things. But it's a lot of fun. Believe me, the show is fantastic.
Paul, how'd you get hooked up in this show?
I was in England. I read songs with Carole King, and Carole invited me to come over to England. She was doing 2 dates there, at the Albert Hall, and a date in Liverpool. And so I was over in England, and my manager had told me about that they were looking for Buddy Holly. They'd been looking for like a year, you know, and he told me like 3 weeks before that. So I said, well, tell me more when you know more. So while I was over there, he called me. I couldn't do it. We played the Albert Hall on a Thursday. I couldn't do it then because of the gig. Friday, we played Liverpool. Monday, I was due to fly out of England at noon. So I went in Monday morning with my bag in one hand, my plane ticket, and read for them. They asked me to stay on for the callbacks and ended up going home.
You never used the plane ticket?
Well, I went back, paid my phone bill, got rid of the apartment, went back, and...
You're a very young man, and yet you call Buddy Holly one of the great influences on your life. I saw in one story. Why?
When I was a kid, I heard, well, first of all, I saw Elvis when I was a little kid. And I went, wow, how could anybody want to do anything else other than that? That's just the coolest. And then I heard, so I liked Elvis. Then I heard Buddy Holly sing. And I thought, well, you know, I heard like That'll Be the Day or something on the radio. And so I investigated. I was like 9 or 10, got Buddy Holly records. And then that led me to Eddie Cochran, Gene Vincent, the other people of that period. And that was all the music that I listened to, was that kind of music when I was growing up. So that whole genre of music kind of had an influence, and particularly Buddy, because he was like one of the first cats to write his own stuff and play the lead guitar and have a hand in the production of it. You know, he was really one of the first to do that.
What's the key to getting into the Buddy Holly character, to your mind?
He's a lot more complicated than it seems on the surface. It seemed to me. Because although he was a real country gentleman, you know, a real Texas gentleman, and you know, but then there was a real fire in him. If you crossed him on his music, you know, he'd let you know about it, you know, and so there was that thing happening. It was very kind of complicated, and he got it across against all odds. They tried to change him country. They told him his music was this or that. That wasn't the music you heard down in Lubbock then. And Lubbock, Texas, and but Buddy stayed with that sound, stayed with his dream, and that's what we're celebrating in this show.
As he goes over to set up, as I think most people know, there was a movie about Buddy's life, and at that time, that movie was now about 8, 10, 12 years ago.
Right.
You didn't really do any interviews. Why?
Well, I couldn't do it. When Buddy died, I just couldn't get myself to listen to his music. I couldn't get myself out there with the fans. I just retracted myself. I just couldn't cope with it. So I just stayed back, and finally when these young people that made the movie came to see me and they talked to me about it, I said, no, I don't think so. But finally, you know, my children were the influence in which I decided to participate and, you know, be able to get out and talk about it. And ever since I've done it, and I'm happy I have. I'm
not looking for comparisons, but did you ever see Gary Busey's performance in the movie?
Yes, yes.
What'd you think?
I think it was great. I mean, actually, his performance was nominated for an award, and I think Gary also captured Buddy right then and there. I mean, I think he did fantastic. I mean, just great.